Howdy, folks. Spencer here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Federation Responder bundle that went live last week. Now, I would have covered this last week, but as some of you know, I was dealing with the Rona. Now, there's nothing special about this bundle. I will tell you right off the bat. I've already covered the fact that the value of the bundle sucks. If you're dropping $100 into the game, you're not getting your money's worth for $100. You're much better off with something like the 12th anniversary bundle or something like the Gamma expansion pack, the Temporal Agents of Yesterday pack, or even the Delta Rising pack. Like all of those packs during the sale are going to get you a hell of a lot more than this Fed Responder bundle. And to make things even worse, they're selling this bundle to you at a worse price than it will eventually be. So right now, this during this launch sale, it's 9,000 Zen, which is $90. It's a 25% off sale. However, as soon as they run a bundle sale, that will in the future it'll go down to being 35% off, which means it'll be 7,800 Zen or $78. So you are paying more to get the bundle early, and the bundle is just terrible value. I've already went over this, but it really, you're not getting your money's worth compared to other options, in my opinion. So outside of the ships, you are getting a T6 coupon. Now, if you bought this bundle during the first week or so here, the coupon you got was bound. That's not intended per Cryptic QA. So that will be fixed. I don't know if it'll be retroactively fixed for people that already bought the bundle, but it's something you may want to factor in if you were looking to maybe sell your T6 coupon for some EC. You will get 6 tier 6 experimental ship upgrade tokens. These things are pretty much a dime a dozen right now through the Phoenix store, so their value is significantly lower than what I have posted here. You're going to get 6 starship slots on the character that buys the bundle. Now, some of you may be wondering why 6? Well, it's because these are your classic C Store ships, in that there's the C Store version, and then there is a fleet version that you can get for 20,000 fleet credits and 1 fleet ship module. If you did not buy these ships through the C Store, you can still acquire the fleet version, but it's going to cost you 5 fleet ship modules per ship rather than 1. And now just remember, with fleet ships, those are per character purchases and they're just a one time. So if you go and delete a fleet ship and you want to get it back in the future, you have to pay the same cost you initially paid when you got it the first time. So fleet ships do, or there being fleet versions of these ships does add another layer of cost if you actually want to utilize these ships moving forward, especially being that this bundle only comes with 3 fleet ship modules. That's enough to get you the fleet versions of each of these ships on one character. If you wanted to, say, get the Bozeman on like 5 of your alts, you are going to have to go out and spend more to buy the fleet ship modules uh, to be able to get the ship on those other characters, on top of the 20,000 fleet credits that it's going to cost you per ship. So that is added value or added costs that you need to factor in if you actually want to use these ships. You will, if you buy the entire Fed Responder bundle, get access to some exclusive materials for the ships. And then you'll also get this First Responder title, which nobody's going to care about. This exclusive material thing really sums up this entire bundle right here, to be honest with you. And that is, if you're buying this bundle, you are buying it because you really want those ship models, or you want to have those skins unlocked so you can use them on the other versions of the ships that you already have. That is basically the only reason you're buying this bundle. Uh, there's just not much value outside of that. This is a bundle designed to sell you the skins of the ships that you, or more skins of ships you already own. So Okay, let's just dive in now and take a look at the ships here. So let's start off with the Bozeman. The Bozeman is a 5-3 Intel frigate. So this does have a commander engineer with Intel, and it's got a lieutenant universal with Intel. Now, you're going to notice here as I go through this blog that they can't make up their mind with what the secondary spec sheet is. Like here it says Lieutenant Commander Universal with Intel. Here it says Lieutenant Universal with Intel. And then if I go down to the fleet version, yet again, it's Lieutenant Commander Universal with Intel. So it's like back and forth here. And now I've went in game and actually confirmed that it is just a Lieutenant Universal. But I really, really wish that they would spend at least a little bit more effort on these blog posts. People are looking at these blog posts, and some people are basing their purchasing decisions off of it, and they're going spastically back and forth with the what the stats of the ship are. So, just wish that there was a little bit more effort put in there from Cryptic. So, got, like I said, Commander Inge with Intel, and then a Lieutenant Universal with Intel. So the thing with the Bozeman is that it's got all of these universal seats. The only fixed seat that it has is that Commander Engineer that has the Intel on it. So this ship has an extremely flexible bridge officer layout, and for it being having that really flexible layout and also being a 5-3, that's really, really nice. Console wise, we have 3 tactical, 4 engineering, and 3 science. Base turn rate of 13, impulse mod of 0.17, inertia of 50. Uh, this does have raider flanking, and it's got the cruiser command array for the weapon system efficiency. So, uh, this really, this is a very solid, like, surgical strikes platform, is what this is. I think if you were looking at C-Store surgical strike options, this is one that's going to be up near the top of the list. I don't know necessarily if it's going to be the best. You know, I'm not going to sit down and test it, and there is some limitations to it, like you see with it just having 3 tactical console slots. Now the fleet version does not. The fleet get an extra one. It's an extra engineering console. So that's where they're reining it in, is you're only getting 3 TAC consoles. So something like the legendary Gal X might still be a better surgical strikes platform, but I think this is a fairly decent value. And honestly, if I was looking for a surgical strikes platform as a budget player, I would probably take a serious look at this. It's got good maneuverability. The bridge officer layout is actually really quite good on this. And it's got raider flanking, cloaking, the gather intel mechanic, weapon system efficiency for the cruiser command array. I think that the ship right there, that's pretty outstanding for the ship. Now, the console, from what I understand, I'd like all of these ships I have not used. I don't have any of them myself yet. So I haven't actually tested the consoles or Starship traits or anything like that. But from what I have heard, the Tachyon Net Drones console is actually fairly decent. It's got passives on it for Starship Perception, critical hit chance, and crit severity. If I go and pop this into... Does anyone post pictures yet? It's like... I don't have any pictures of the console yet to show you the stats on it, but it's got some fairly decent passives, and then the clicky on the console will deploy a tachyon net around your foe, and any foes within 3 kilometers of it will have reduced resistance. You'll reveal cloaked ships, and on a critical hit, you'll apply some kinetic damage and shield offline for a few seconds. So I think the console looks pretty decent. I have not used it myself yet to fully say whether or not it's good, but I've been hearing a lot of people uh, say that it does fairly well. So I think the console off the Bozeman's probably going to be a fairly solid pickup. Now, the Starship trait is sort of noob trap territory. But before I get into that, this is the first Starship trait we have that is what they're calling an active Starship trait. And that is, it's another ability that you would put on your tray. So I assume that they're going to be doing this a lot moving forward. It's a new approach to Starship traits, and it gives them a lot more options. This one will give you a clicky that for 10 seconds will make you untargetable. That's reduced to 2 seconds in PvP, but is not currently working from what I understand. It will give you 100% crit chance, a large bonus to flight speed and turn rate, but it has a base recharge of 100 seconds, which you can reduce down to as low as 40 seconds by using Intel Bridge Officer abilities or by cloaking up and staying in cloak. So it does have a minimum cooldown of 40 seconds. That does mean that at absolute best conditions, you can only have 25% uptime for this trait. 25% uptime kills the crit chance aspect of it, because you are ultimately going to be needing to build up a lot around this trait, most likely to be able to fully take advantage of the high uptime on it. And 25% uptime, it's just not worth it. The untargetable aspect, if you're gonna die in combat, you're gonna die. You know, when this 10 seconds ends, you're just prolonging the inevitable by 10 seconds if you hit this. 100% crit chance. If you have anything near a high end build, if you've been playing for a while, have your endeavors up, uh, so many builds have fairly high crit chance nowadays. I've seen people with budget builds that have, 50, 60%. I can't. The 100% crit chance, I could see why that would be appealing to someone brand new to the game or somebody that has absolutely nothing. But I cannot recommend you get this ship just to get this trait. That crit chance aspect of it, you're not going to see that benefit because it's only going to be 100% crit chance for 10 seconds. So what are you doing the rest of the time for your crit chance? The best aspect of this is probably the bonus to flight speed and turn rate, but same issues with the uptime. So I just don't think the Starship trade is worth it. So I think that's an easy pass on the Starship trade. But I think the console and the ship itself are fairly solid and may be worth looking into if you are interested in like a Surgical Strikes Miranda, especially, or just a really good Surgical Strikes platform that's in the C store. Now let's take a look at the Cabot Command Light Escort. Uh, just to clarify, this is a very much a torpedo escort. If you are buying this thing, the intention is for you to be setting up a torpedo build on it. The ship has a commander tack with command and a lieutenant science with command. It's got a 4-3 weapons layout plus an experimental weapon. So ensign tack, commander tack with command, lieutenant commander engineering, yikes, lieutenant science with command, and lieutenant commander universal. So technically you could run a Gravwell 1 on this, but this lieutenant commander engineer really limits this. And the Appalachia had the same issue. There's a lot of torp boats that have just this lieutenant commander eng on them, and it does hurt them. It hurts the amount of unconventional systems procs that they can put on the build. Really, just based off the stats, like if you want to put a torp boat on this, like you can do it, but I think if you're looking for a C-store torp boat, you're going to be much better off with either the Appalachia or even better is the Terran Trailblazer. The Terran Trailblazer is basically a promo ship that they put in the C store. It's basically a direct clone of the Janeway class promo ship that they released like a year and a half ago, and it's a better version of it. So that's a really good torpedo platform. And I think if you're looking for a torp boat in the C store, you're making a mistake not going with the Trailblazer. So let's take a look at the secondary benefits of this, because the stats on this, if you really want a torp boat Shran, it'll work, but it's not going to be the best, and you need to know that going into it. The Terran Trailblazer is just straight up going to be a higher performing option for a C-store torp boat. Okay, so the console is the external massive munition hardpoints, passive bonus to kinetic damage, flight speed, and hull pen. The clicky on it creates a massive quantum warhead, which goes after your target and detonates, dealing massive damage to it and all foes behind it in a cone. If three or more foes are hit by the same warhead, it gets you a boost to your kinetic damage for 20 seconds. So the console is boosted by weapons training and projectile weapon skills. And from what I understand, that's the same for the Starship trait. But from what I understand, projectile weapon skills are not currently boosting the console or the trait. I don't know when they're going to fix that, but that is something that is impacting current player performance numbers from these. And everyone that has gotten the Cabot that I've talked to has been saying that the console on it has been a massive disappointment. So the console is not doing the type of damage you would expect, and part of that is probably because Cryptic not tested it all before release and let it go through without being buffed by half the things it's supposed to be buffed by. Now, for the trait, it's the advanced precision guided munitions. Activating a weapon firing mode will enhance the next torpedo weapon fired within 10 seconds, causing a detonation within the hull of the targeted foe and dealing significant kinetic damage. And if the target has a shield facing under 15%, the extra damage is doubled. As a 10-second lockout. So Augmented sent me quite a few messages about this when he was doing his test with it, and he was saying in a 700k run, he got like 50 to 60k out of it, and that's a fairly decent number. But I can't say that I'm too impressed by that. Nor can I say I would be willing to drop one of my traits for it. Like, you know, the meta 6 on a torp boat right now, Terran Goodbye, that's 15% crit chance. ETM, that's how you get your torp spreads. Rapid emitting armaments does a lot more damage than 50k. And it triggers subspatial warheads. Subspatial warheads on a good run can do several 100k. The Ruin of Our Enemies, that gives you up to a 300% damage boost. Universal Designs, that's another 10% crit chance and 50 severity. You know, what am I dropping for this Cabot trait? There's nothing that I would drop for it because everything I have is already going to be much more impactful. If you're like someone on a budget setting up a torp boat, maybe this is something to look into, but I can't say for sure that everyone's going to see a ton of benefit from the trait. I've heard, you know, Augie had those really good results, but I've also heard people at lower DPS levels uh, saying that they were not impressed with the damage from it at all. So I don't know how it would perform in a high level run. There's not really any high level runs going on right now. The DPS scene is in a bit of a drought, but I don't think anyone at that level would be willing to drop any of their existing traits to put this on. So from a high end point of view, I'm gonna have to give this trait a pass. Maybe a budget player would be able to get use out of it, but I don't know how well it scales down to someone doing like 200k with a torp boat. And the experimental weapon deals kinetic damage to the target. From what I understand, this thing doesn't do much, so can pretty much ignore that. So the Cabot, or the fleet version of it, the Mage, they're it's a it's not bad, but it's not your best option in the sea store. Uh, I think if you're looking for a torp boat, you're getting something like the Trailblazer. That's just going to be hands down a much better option for you. And lastly, we have the Nobel Miracle Worker Research Science Vessel. This is a science vessel with Miracle Worker. So let's ignore the ship and go to the console. The console is sphere separation. So basically, this is a saucer sep console for the ship. Saucer sep type consoles never in the history of the game have done a damn thing performance wise. This is basically a for fun console, and the passives on it can be ignored because the clicky on it's going to be absolutely worthless in combat. But I'll take a quick look at the stats. Don't worry. 3-3, Lieutenant Tactical with Miracle Worker, Lieutenant Commander Engineering, yikes, Ensign Science, Commander Science with Miracle Worker, and Lieutenant Commander Universal. This Lieutenant Commander Engineering is not good. Science ships do not like engineering past an ensign level for the most part. You want to put emergency powered engines on, maybe. I don't even think the high end torp boats or the high end side boats are doing that. Like, emergency powered aux, my bad, not engines. So this is the type of build that currently has the HSE record, which is very much an EPG focused map. So emergency powered engines is the only like non-psi or specialization ability that is on this build. River spread Alex, yeah. So that's rough there. Now Miracle Worker has nothing worthwhile really for science. Some people did use the crossfield refit for some science builds, and they had some success with it. But none of them set like the top record. It's always something like the Vern with Temporal that takes the record. The only thing Miracle Worker can offer science is that extra console. There's just no Miracle Worker abilities that synchronize with science. So, unfortunately, from a performance point of view, the moment you put Miracle Worker on a science ship, it's pretty much an immediate pass because Temporal is just so significantly better with science ships than Miracle Worker. So the console sucks. The starship trait is trauma response. When restoring your own shields, you receive a bonus to shield capacity and shield healing. That's not that great. When restoring the shields of an ally, you receive a bonus to shield pen for all damage dealt. Oh, that's something that catches my eye. However, this trait can only be triggered by shield healing abilities that are manually activated, not those that automatically trigger. So you can get up to 75% shield pen with this because it stacks up to 10 times, but you have to stack the trait up to 10 stacks. And to get those 10 stacks, every 15, 20, 25 seconds, you're going to be clicking over to another player on your team and hitting them with something like a science team or transfer shield strength or extend shields. So this is, I mean, technically, the 75% shield pen is nice if you could actually take advantage of it, but that's not really going to be very fun and engaging gameplay to go and target a teammate every 20 or so seconds because you have 30 seconds to get the next stack and to refresh the duration of the existing stacks. So you have to be hitting someone with a shield heal every less than 30 seconds. So practically, you're not going to be able to get the full benefit of this trade. It would, be a massive hindrance on your actual gameplay to do so. So for the trait, I'm going to have to say a pass on it. And the ship itself is a pass, the console itself is a pass. And that really harks back to what I was saying at the start here, and that is that this bundle is all about the materials for the ships. This is very much the type of bundle you're getting it for the skins. You're getting it because you really want the Nobel or the Olympic there in the center. You're getting it for the skins because two of the ships are one of the ships is really quite poor performance wise. One of the ships is quite mediocre, but one of the ships is really good. But thankfully, you can get it on its own. You don't actually have to buy the entire bundle. So, if you didn't get that, Noble is a pass. Cabot is a pass. Bozeman, definitely something to look at if you're interested in surgical strikes builds. It's a very solid setup on it. And I didn't look at this closely enough when I was first looking at this. This is actually the stats on it are fairly good. The limitation is going to be, of course, it's only got 3 tactical consoles. You can, of course, add one more with the T6X upgrade. But still, some people are not going to be happy with just 4 tac consoles. So, lastly, I do want to add, this is not related to the bundle. Uh, the the bundle I don't think is worth it. Once again, I think the only thing in this entire bundle worth anything is the T6 coupon and the Bozeman. That's pretty much it. Now, you're going to notice I have a dark mode on the new STO website, and I just want to give a quick shout out. So Thon had made this style for it, and you will have to go and grab the stylus extension for your browser if you want to use it. But it allows you to have dark mode on the new STO website that Gearbox has put up. So if you want to have dark mode on the new website, being they're transitioning all the STO news and all that over to it, I'll leave a link to it down below. And once again, thank you to Thon of Endoria for putting that together, because the default appearance of the new or the new STO website was a bit rough on the eyes for me, at least. A fairly bright page there, and with the dark mode on stylus, it makes it quite nice for me. So check that out if you're interested. If anyone has any questions or comments, or thoughts about what I've said in this video, feel free to drop them below. I'm trying to not be too negative about these new ships, but I think right off the bat that they were like the entire bundle is fairly underwhelming. But looking at it closer, the Bozeman definitely is a standout. It's not going to be for everyone, but it does look like it's very decent offering. The rest of the ships you can pretty much ignore. So that is going to be it for today. Once again, thank you to all channel members. There are more videos coming out soon. Going to be a mix of STO stuff and O game stuff over the next week. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.